What was the best "you have no power here" moment you have ever seen? That's the question we're exploring today.
Oh, it's a good one. I bet we'll hear some great stories.
Yeah, and where better to look than Reddit, specifically the Rask Reddit community. We're going to dive into those satisfying tales where people finally stand up for
Oh,
themselves.
yeah, those Redditors will deliver. It's going to be like watching karma come back around.
Exactly. They like putting entitled jerks in their place, you know, or seeing people discover their own strength in the face of someone trying to control them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, those moments where someone realizes they actually have the upper hand. Those are the best.
This first story is a perfect example. It's about this McDonald's manager, a real tyrant.
Oh, no, really? What did he do?
Like, bullied the employees, belittled them in front of customers, the whole 9 yards. But after tons of complaints, they finally fired him.
Good, he deserved it.
Right. So a few weeks later, he walks back into the store.
Oh, no, I bet he tried to act like he still owned the place.
Exactly.
Mm.
Starts criticizing everything, like he's still in charge. But the new manager,
I hope they weren't intimidated.
not a chance. They just calmly told him to leave or they'd call the police.
Wow, good for them. Did he leave?
Nope. Refused. So they actually called the cops.
No way.
Yeah. And guess what? The old manager ended up with a restraining order, banned from every McDonald's in the city.
Oh, that is amazing. That's what I call a McFlurry of justice. Okay, what else do we have?
This next story, anyone who's dealt with overbearing parents will relate to this. This young adult finally moves out of their parents' house.
Ah, freedom.
Right. So they go back for dinner one night, hoping for a pleasant evening.
Sounds nice. What happened?
Well, their dad starts giving them a hard time.
Ugh, why some parents do that? Like they still control you?
I know, right? And this young adult, they've had a taste of freedom now. So they just stand up and declare, hey, I don't live here anymore. I don't have to put up with this. And then bam, they walk out.
Yeah, good
Uh,
for them.
Oh, the comment section on this one was wild. Everyone was cheering them on. People were talking about the importance of saving for a FU fund so you can, walk away from bad situation.
I love that FU fund. All right, what's next?
All right, buckle up for this one. It's about a 16-year-old with a really tough upbringing, a truly awful mother,
Oh no, what happened?
like drug addiction, narcissism, abuse, you name it, and a completely passive father who wouldn't do anything.
Well, that's so sad. That poor kid.
Yeah. They even ended up homeless for a while because of it. But luckily, they had an aunt in Texas who offered them a place to stay.
Oh, thank goodness for that aunt.
Right. And the aunt, seeing how bad things were, suggests emancipation.
That's a big step, going to court and all that.
And during the court hearing, the teen actually confronts their parents, tells them they've lost all respect for them because of how they've been treated. And the mother,
Oh no, I bet she didn't take that well.
she completely loses it, starts screaming and everything, gets escorted out by a court officer, and the judge.
Did they grant emancipation?
They did. The kid wins. 7 years later, they're thriving with a great career and healthy relationships. They even said therapy helped them process all that trauma and that emancipation was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Wow. What an incredible story. Okay, what else do we have? I'm hooked on these.
All right, picture this. A trampoline park, right?
Oh.
But the drama isn't happening on the trampolines. It's happening with the employees and their moms.
Oh no, not those moms who think their kids can do no wrong.
Yep, 2 teenage employees, total slackers, rude to customers, terrible workers. You know the type.
Well, yeah, I've seen them, so what's the story?
They should have been fired ages ago.
Yeah.
But their moms were notorious for, intimidating the previous manager.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. The whole "don't you know who I am" routine.
Yep. But this new manager, they weren't having it. They fired both of those teens. And that night, the phone calls started. Angry moms, threats of lawsuits, accusations of discrimination, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But this manager, they're cool as a cucumber. Just ask the moms, are your sons over 18? The moms, you're like, well, yeah. And the manager just says, so you're demanding I illegally release personal information regarding a former adult employee by...
Oh, snap. What a power move.
Right. Okay, this one takes place at a high school graduation ceremony.
Oh, graduation. Should be a happy day, right?
You'd think so. But this dad, a dental surgeon, a real big shot in town, wasn't happy with his kid's grade.
Oh no, here we go.
Storms into the teacher's office, starts with the whole there must be some mistake routine, quickly escalates to demanding a grade change.
Of course he does.
Tries to bribe the teacher even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he drops the bomb. You're fired.
He can't fire a teacher.
Right. But this teacher, they're just completely calm. They just ask the dad to leave. Predictably, he loses it, threatens violence, you know the drill, gets reported to the administration, and boom, banned from the property.
Wow, what a jerk.
Okay, ready for a wedding story?
Oh, I love wedding stories. What happened?
So the groom, he's feeling a little warm during the reception. Understandable, right?
Yeah, all those people, the dancing, it can get hot.
So he keeps opening the balcony doors to let in some fresh air.
Sounds reasonable.
But some random guest keeps shutting them, complaining about the cold. Finally, he actually confronts the groom.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, demands he keep the door shut and everything, throws in a, "Who the hell do you think you are?" For good measure.
Oh, how embarrassing. What did the groom say?
The groom, with perfect timing, just replies, "I'm the guy who bought you dinner."
Ah, perfect.
Mic drop moment. The guest is totally flustered, scurries off to complain to someone else, and get this, his friend sees what's going on, grabs their coat, and they both basically run out of the reception.
Oh, that is too funny. The groomsmen must have been loving it. Okay, what else have we got?
This next one, it's all about working your way up in a tough environment. Our storyteller starts as just a popcorn monkey, at the local cinema.
Ugh, I've been there. I've done my time slinging popcorn.
But they quickly get promoted to supervisor because they're competent.
Ah, that'll do it. Hard work pays off.
But at the same time, this other supervisor, the queen of mean, gets promoted to floor manager.
Oh, no, I bet she tried to boss them around.
Oh, totally. Tries to pull rank because she's been there longer. But our storyteller, they're smart. They say to the manager, "Oh, thanks. That's so helpful. You know how things work so much better than me because you've been here 5 years and I've only been here 6 weeks."
Ooh, subtle shade. I love it. What did the manager say?
Nothing. She was totally deflated. And then to make things even better, our storyteller gets promoted again, this time to floor manager. Now they're equals.
That's amazing. Talk about a glow up. Okay, what's next?
Okay, get this.
Hmm.
Private investigator, right? They specialize in working for public defenders. And they're investigating this county where the sheriff's department is super corrupt.
Oh, no, that's awful. Corrupt cops are the worst.
I know, they're pulling people over for bogus reasons, doing illegal searches, the whole 9 yards. And there's one deputy who's especially bad.
So what did the PI do?
Well, they had to interview this deputy who had written the worst report, full of errors and inconsistencies.
Oh, I bet the PI had a field day with that.
Oh, yeah. During the interview, they just picked the report apart, pointing out every single mistake, under the guise of clarifying.
That's so clever, just casually exposing his incompetence.
Exactly. And the sheriff's representative who was there to protect the deputy, they just sat there completely stunned.
Oh, I bet. They couldn't believe how badly their guy was messing up.
And guess what? Months later, the PI gets pulled over in the same area. Guess who by?
Oh, no, not the same crooked deputy.
Yep. The deputy recognizes the PI immediately, stammers something about needing to check their headlights even though it was broad daylight, and then he just bolts back to his car and speeds away.
That is amazing. The tables had turned.
Okay, imagine this. You had a rough childhood. Your dad was a drug addict, and you end up paying the mortgage on the family home as an adult.
Wow, that's a heavy burden to carry.
It is. And one day, our storyteller decides to install a satellite dish.
Seems harmless enough.
Right. But their dad, who still lives there but isn't contributing much, comes out and is like, "What are you doing? This is my house."
It's always about control with some people.
And the storyteller just calmly informs them that they're paying the mortgage, so they get to make decisions about the house.
You tell him.
And it was this huge turning point in their relationship. The dad realized he'd lost his power, and the storyteller finally gained a sense of agency.
It's amazing how a simple statement of fact can shift the dynamic like that. Okay, what's next?
Let's head back to the concession stand, shall we? This one's about a new employee at a movie theater.
Ah, the land of popcorn and overpriced candy.
Exactly. Our narrator starts as, a popcorn monkey.
I've been there.
But there's this supervisor who's been there for like 5 years,
Yeah.
and she's a total nightmare.
Oh, I know the type. The self-proclaimed queen of popcorn, making everyone's life miserable.
Yep. Our narrator almost quit in the first week because of this supervisor. One time they took a quick sip of water while cleaning up, and the supervisor screams, "We don't pay you to stand around drinking,
Oh, the pettiness. It's astounding how some people in positions of authority get so fixated on controlling every little detail.
Right. But our narrator, they fire back. "I'm thirsty, and if you want to forbid employees from drinking water, good luck with health and safety."
Yes, What did the supervisor say to that?
She just shut up. And then 2 weeks later, guess what?
What happened?
Our narrator gets promoted to supervisor, and the mean one gets bumped up to floor manager.
Oh, no, I bet that didn't go over well.
Nope. She kept trying to boss our narrator around, but they always had the perfect comeback. Like, when she'd try to show off her superior knowledge, our narrator would say, "Oh, thanks. That's so helpful. I mean, you know how things work so much better than me because you've been here 5 years and I've only been here 6 weeks."
Ooh, that's brutal. I love it. So how did it all end?
4 weeks later, guess what? Our narrator gets promoted to floor manager, making them equals.
Amazing. Talk about a meteoric rise. They totally outsmarted that bully. Okay, I am ready for more. What else you got?
Okay, this one's about a teenager with a really, really tough childhood. Like, seriously bad.
No, what happened?
The mom was an addict, opiates.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, and the mom had dissociative disorder and was also a narcissist. And incredibly abusive.
Oh, wow. That's a lot for a kid to deal with.
I know. The dad was just totally passive, never intervened. So this kid was dealing with, like, physical beatings, emotional manipulation.
Awful.
The mom even abandoned him in the middle of nowhere sometime.
Oh my gosh, that is just horrible. Did anyone help this kid?
Well, luckily they had an aunt in Texas. She was a real lifesaver, offered them a place to stay for the summer.
That's wonderful. At least they had someone who cared.
I know. And the aunt saw how bad things were and suggested emancipation.
Wow, that's a big decision.
Right. So they go to court. And during the emancipation hearing, the kid has to, confront their parents, talk about all the abuse. They told the judge, "I just want to live in peace and experience the love and compassion they have at my aunt's house."
Oh, that's heartbreaking. They just wanted a normal life.
And the parents' lawyer tried to make the kid look bad, saying they just wanted to live with their aunt for the money.
Ah, that's awful.
And then the mom
What did she do?
starts screaming in court, accusing the kid of lying. Just classic abuser stuff.
Of course.
But this kid, they stand their ground. Look their mother in the eye and say, "For once in your life, for once in my life, behave as an adult. You can't stop me by simply yelling over me anymore. You have nothing to hold over me now. You can do nothing."
Wow. So powerful.
And the judge, seeing all this, has the mother escorted out of the courtroom and grants emancipation.
Yes. What happened to the kid afterward?
They're doing amazing now. Successful career, good relationships, credits therapy with helping them heal.
That's fantastic. What a testament to the power of resilience. What's next?
Right, this one's about walking away from a toxic ex.
Oof. Breakups are hard enough without the added toxicity.
Right. So our storyteller is moving out of their shared apartment after this awful breakup, and while they're cleaning out the garage, their ex starts criticizing their post-breakup plans.
Oh, come on. Trying to control them even after the relationship's over?
I know. It was the final straw. The storyteller just takes a deep breath, laughs, and says, "This is the last time I have to listen to this. You don't get to be critical of anything I ever do ever again."
Yes. Drawing that line in the sand.
And then they just walk away.
Yeah.
Leaves the ex standing there, speechless.
Sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can do. Just walk away from the negativity. Okay, what else?
The story's kind of funny. It's about someone who got to put their dad in his place.
Oh, interesting.
So they bought a house with their husband, and then because of some financial stuff, her parents had to move in.
That can be tricky, having your parents live with you.
Totally. So one evening, our storyteller is watering her plants in the front yard with the hose. It's getting dark out,
Okay.
and suddenly the hose gets stuck.
What happened?
It's her dad, crouching down, tugging on the hose.
Oh, no. Why would he do that?
Who knows? So she sprays him with the hose, of course.
I would have done the same thing. What did he do?
He runs inside, thinking he's safe. He shouts, "You can't get me now, I'm inside."
Oh, no, he did not just say that. Didn't he realize whose house it was?
Apparently not. So our storyteller, hose in hand, looks him dead in the eye and says, "It's my house," and then blasts him with water again.
Oh, that is too good. I bet he learned his lesson. Okay, I am dying to hear more.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
This one takes place in a pharmacy.
Okay, what happened? Someone trying to get a prescription filled.
Exactly. This woman tries to get this very obviously fake prescription for a controlled substance filled. And it gets worse. She brings the new store manager back to the pharmacy to try and pressure the pharmacist into filling it. The manager even tells the pharmacist, she says you have to fill it.
Oh, wow, the manager was in on it.
No, the manager was just totally clueless. But our pharmacist stands their ground.
You good for them.
They look at the manager and say, "God himself cannot make us fill anything if it fails the checks. No."
Yes, they stuck to their ethics. That's amazing.
This next one is about mall security.
Mhm.
Our storyteller saw this group of customers just going crazy.
Oh no, what happened? Shoplifting.
No, they thought a staff member had stolen their wallet.
Oh geez, jumping to conclusions.
I know, right? They were screaming at everyone, the managers, the poor staff,
Mm.
and security tried to calm them down, but nothing worked.
What did the security guard do?
Finally, they just had enough and told the customers, get the fuck out.
Yes. Someone had to put a stop to their nonsense.
And the customers, they're like, you can't say that. This isn't your theater. We're customers.
Ugh, the entitlement is strong with that one.
So the security guard just looks them dead in the eyes and says, this is my mall and I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Wow, that's a power move.
It is. The customers finally left. And guess what?
Was.
Later, they found their wallet where they dropped it.
Figures. What else is new? What's next?
Okay, imagine this. You've been dating this guy for a while. Things are going well. You even meet his parents.
That's a big step.
It is. And one night, you're hanging out at your place after a date, just having a few beers and talking.
Sounds like a nice evening.
It was. Until his mom starts blowing up his phone, demanding he come home immediately.
Oh no, I'm sensing a controlling mother here.
You got it. So he drives home, and guess what? He's locked out of the house.
What? His own mother locked him out. That's crazy.
And it gets worse. She tells him he can sleep outside and that he shouldn't be wasting his time with our storyteller.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible. What did he do?
To his credit, he defended our storyteller, told his mom to back off.
Good for him.
But she just doubles down, saying, when you're under my roof, I'll say whatever I want about whoever I want.
Ugh, so controlling. I'm glad he stood up to her.
Me too. So he calls our storyteller and asks if he can stay at their place, which he does.
Nice. He chose a healthy relationship over that toxic environment.
And get this, 7 years later, they're engaged, have a dog, a cat, and a happy life together.
Oh, that's wonderful. Talk about a you have no power here moment.
Okay, this one's about a new manager who learned a tough lesson about respect.
Okay, tell me more.
Our storyteller starts working at this communications equipment company, right? And they get promoted to department manager pretty quickly.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is. But they really needed help. So the CEO hires an assistant manager for them.
Sounds good. So what's the problem?
The assistant manager was a total nightmare. From day one, he was criticizing everything and everyone, even telling the manager how they could do things better.
Oh, that's awful. What a jerk.
He even boasted that he'd have the manager's job in a few months.
Oh, wow. He really thought he was all that. What did the manager do?
They tried to be professional, tried to correct him, but he was just determined to be a jerk. And then one day, they're at a work site in the middle of the West Texas desert.
Okay. This sounds like a good setting for a showdown. What happened?
The assistant manager starts complaining about the dust and then tells the manager to clean up the entire site, like straight up orders them.
Wow, he was really asking for
The
it.
manager's had enough. They call a taxi, fill out a termination notice, and hand it to the assistant manager.
Yes, finally. What did Mr. Big Shot say?
He's totally shocked. Protests that only the CEO can fire him. And that's when the manager drops the mic. They're like, and manager's name, right?
Oh, snap.
They-
The look on his face must have been priceless.
It was. He had been bad-mouthing the very person who could fire him. He was speechless.
So satisfying. How did it end?
They shook hands, and the manager said, I can teach anyone how to service equipment, but I don't have a clue how to teach someone to not be an asshole.
Uh-huh. Perfect. What a great story.
All right, picture this. You're a bouncer at a nightclub. It's a busy night, lines out the door. Right?
That sounds like a typical Friday night. Lots of eager partygoers.
Exactly. And of course, you're dealing with people trying to cut the line all night.
Line cutters are the worst.
I know. So this group comes up, and one of them is like, hey, I'm a big-time soccer player. Can we get in for free? Skip the line?
Oh, come on. Trying to use their supposed fame to get special treatment.
Right. But the bouncer wasn't having it. They just told the whole group to get in line like everyone else.
Good for them. Rules are rules.
Exactly. Another bouncer in the thread was talking about how Instagram models try to use their follower count to jump the line.
That's ridiculous. Social media clout doesn't get you a VIP pass to life.
Nope, it doesn't. These bouncers, they were having none of it. Just calmly enforcing the rules and reminding these influencers that everyone waits their turn.
It's a good reminder that online personas don't mean much in the real world.
Exactly. All right, let's head back to the world of fast food for this next one.
Okay, what happened? Another entitled customer.
You bet. This McDonald's manager had an employee who wasn't afraid to stand up to rude customers.
Oh, I love those employees. The ones who aren't afraid to clap back.
And this manager, they always had the employees back.
That's awesome. Every employee deserves a manager like that.
Right. Whenever a customer would get too aggressive, the manager would just shut them down. Even called mall security to escort them out sometimes.
Good.
Huh.
Some people just need to be shown the door.
The comments on this one were all about how great this manager was, praising them for being a good boss.
They were a true leader, protecting their team and setting a good example.
All right, this next story, it's about the power of tech skills, you know.
Oh, I love a good tech story. What happened?
So this person works for a company that provides IT services.
Okay, so they're the ones who come in and fix everyone's computer problems. I've called those guys many times.
Right. So they get called to this client's office to address some technical issue, and they're on, like, a minimum 8-hour billing window.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
But the problem turns out to be a simple configuration error. Takes them about 35 minutes to fix.
Oh, no. I bet the client wasn't happy about that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The client is furious they're not getting a full 8 hours worth of service.
Yeah.
Stops our storyteller as they're packing up and demands they stay the full 8 hours.
Seriously. Just to sit around and do nothing.
Yep. Even suggested the storyteller could wash their car if they've got nothing else to do.
Oh, the entitlement is strong with that one. So what did the storyteller do?
They just calmly inform the client that they're leaving, the office will send an invoice, and that the company will likely no longer be working with them.
Nice. They knew their worth and weren't going to put up with that kind of disrespect.
And there was this comment on the story that was even better. This other person was saying how they got paid to fly to New York City, spend 2 nights in a fancy hotel, just to add a semicolon to a config file.
Wow. Talk about a high-paying semicolon. What else is on the agenda?
Okay, this is a middle school story, but it's a good one. Our storyteller's boyfriend, back when he was in middle school, he had this cloth binder, right, with a strap to carry it over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. So what's the problem?
Well, the school had this ridiculous no backpack policy.
Seriously, what's wrong with backpacks?
I don't know. Anyway, this kid had been using this strapped binder for months with no issues.
So far, so good. So what happened?
The vice principal decides to make an example of him, sees the strapped binder, and says it's not allowed because it looks like a backpack.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. It's a binder.
I know, right? She tells him to empty his binder and carry his papers to class for the rest of the day.
Talk about a power trip. What did the kid do?
He refused.
Yeah.
It said he wasn't emptying his binder. So she takes him to her office and tries to reason with him. But he's not budging.
Good for him, sticking to his guns.
So finally, the vice principal says he can have his binder back at the end of the day if he empties it.
Did he do it?
Nope. He just says, that's fine, I didn't want to go to class anyway.
Oh, I love it. He called her bluff.
I know, right? She thought he'd give in eventually, but he sat there in the office all day, refusing to budge. And finally, the vice principal gives up, says he can keep his binder, but has to get a new one the next day.
Did he get a new one?
Never did. For the rest of the year, whenever the vice principal saw him with his strapped binder, she'd be like, you can't have that. And he'd just reply, are you going to take me to the office?
I love it. He totally won.
He did. He totally outsmarted her.
That's awesome. Okay, hit me with another one. I'm ready for more.
Let's talk about a teacher who had a simple but brilliant way of dealing with disruptive students.
Oh, I'm all ears. Classroom management can be so tough. What was their secret?
One day, they had this student who was just being a real pain.
We've all had those students, the ones who just love to push buttons.
Exactly. And this teacher, they tried everything to get the student to calm down, but nothing was working. So finally, they just stopped and looked at the student.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What did they do?
They said, I'm a person, you're a person, let's talk like people.
Wow. That is so simple, but so powerful. Did it work?
The student was totally thrown off guard.
I bet. It's not every day that a teacher acknowledges them as a person.
Right. They calmed right down, and the rest of the class went smoothly.
That's fantastic. It's a good reminder that sometimes all it takes to de-escalate a situation is to acknowledge each other's humanity. Okay, any more of these stories? What's next?
All right, you ready for a little payback story?
Oh, I love a good payback story. What happened?
So our storyteller, when they were a kid, they had a bit of a problem with returning library books on time.
Oh, I've been there. Those late fees can really add up.
They know it. And they used to get lectures all the time from their school librarian about responsibility and deadlines.
I bet she laid down the law.
Oh, yeah. But fast forward 20 years, and our storyteller is now a supervisor at the local public library.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It is. And guess who walks into the library, trying to sneak past the front desk?
The librarian.
The very same.
Yeah.
Busted, red-handed, with a stack of overdue books.
No way.
So our storyteller, seeing their chance, puts on their reading glasses, puts them down their nose, and
Oh, tell me they gave her the same lecture.
they gave her the exact same lecture,
Uh-uh.
all about responsibility, deadlines, the importance of returning books on time.
That is too perfect.
The librarian was mortified.
Yeah.
I bet she never returned a book late again.
What goes around comes around. All right, what's next?
Okay, imagine this. You're at the movies, right?
Love a good movie night. Popcorn, big screen.
But it can be ruined by noisy people.
Ugh, tell me about it. People talking on their phones, kicking your seat.
Well, in this story, it's a group of rowdy teenagers.
Oh, no. Teenagers at the movies, that's never a good combo.
I know, so they're being loud, throwing popcorn, just being jerks. And this young couple asked them to quiet down.
And I bet the teenagers ignored them.
Oh yeah, just laughed and got even louder.
Typical. So, who stepped in? Did someone call the staff?
Nope, it was even better. This group of bikers had been watching the whole thing.
Bikers. Wow, okay, I did not see that coming.
They just calmly walked over to the teenagers, told them to knock it off.
That's awesome. I love those unexpected hero moments.
And guess what? The teenagers shut right up.
Hmm.
Were perfect angels for the rest of the movie.
Wow, talk about a you have no power here moment. Those bikers were amazing.
Right. Okay, you ready for a stolen valor story?
Oh, yeah, I love those. The ones where people pretend to be veterans.
This one's good. Are storytellers at Lowe's with their dad,
Mm-hmm.
and this employee's helping them. But he's wearing a veteran's hat
Yeah.
and all these pins.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, this employee is being a real know-it-all, telling them that they don't know what they're talking about, don't even need the stuff they're trying to buy.
Some people just love to hear themselves talk. So how'd they find out he was faking?
The storyteller's dad, trying to be polite, asks him, "What branch were you in?"
Oh, here we go.
The guy launches into this whole story about how he was SEAL Team 6, 1970 to 1974, trained in Great Lakes.
Wait, SEAL Team 6 in the 70s. That doesn't sound right.
It's not. The storyteller's dad, he was a veteran himself, immediately knew the guy was lying.
Busted.
Yeah. The dad, who was wearing his service ring, just calls the guy out right there in the middle of Lowe's.
No way.
Tells him his story is complete BS, threatens to report him for stolen valor.
Oh, man, that must have been so satisfying. What did the guy do?
Turned beet red, tried to backpedal, but it was too late. Everyone was staring at him.
Oh, the shame. That's what he gets for trying to lie about his service. All right, what's next? This Reddit deep dive is gold.
This next one, it's about a lab technician.
Okay.
They worked in a lab, taking specimens, processing requests. And they got a call from this doctor. The doctor's furious that this one test is taking too long.
What test was it?
A fungal culture.
Oh, yeah. This can take a while to process.
Right. Like at least 2 weeks. But this doctor, he wants to discharge the patient that same day. And he keeps calling the lab, demanding to know why it's taking so long. Can't they speed it up or something?
Doctors can be so impatient sometimes.
Seriously. So our storyteller calmly explains that, fungal cultures take time to grow. There's no way to make them grow faster.
Basic science. You'd think a doctor would know that.
Right. But he's not having it. Demands to speak to a lab tech, like the storyteller as a lab assistant, didn't know what they were talking about.
Oh, oh, come on. What a jerk.
So our storyteller just calmly informs him that they are a lab tech and they do have experience in microbiology.
Oh, snap. Love that. What did the doctor say?
Silence. Then just mumbled something about waiting for the results and hung up.
Wow, that's a great story. Sometimes you just have to put those arrogant doctors in their place.
Okay, this story is about an ex who just wouldn't let go.
Oh, no, I hate those.
So our storyteller's moving out after a breakup, right? Cleaning out the garage.
Okay.
And their ex starts criticizing their post-breakup plans.
Trying to control them even after the relationship is over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our storyteller had just had enough. Took a deep breath, laughed, and said, "This is the last time I have to listen to this. You don't get to be critical of anything I ever do, ever again."
Love it. Standing their ground.
And then just walked away.
Yeah.
Left the ex speechless.
The best response sometimes is no response. Okay, what's next?
Okay, imagine this. You're 19 working at a deli.
Ah, the deli counter. I love a good sandwich. But I'm sensing some drama here.
Oh, tons of drama. You've got this manager, woman in her 50s. She's just awful, condescending, power-hungry, you know the type.
Ugh, I know exactly what you mean.
So one day she's just being extra rude to our storyteller, snapping at them for everything.
What did our storyteller do?
They finally snap back. Told her, "You're being incredibly rude and I don't appreciate it."
Good for them. It's okay to stand up to bullies even if they're your manager. What did the manager say?
She's totally taken aback. Tries to pull the "you need to learn to respect your elders" card.
Oh, come on. That's such a cop-out.
Right. But our storyteller just fires back, "I respect everyone until they give me a reason not to."
Perfect. Respect is earned, not given.
And the manager. She was speechless.
Love it. What else is in store?
Okay, this landlord, a real piece of work. Always trying to intimidate his tenants.
Oh, that's awful. What did he do?
Show up unannounced, make snide comments, anything to make their lives miserable. Especially if he thought they were vulnerable, you know.
That's just wrong. Everyone deserves to feel safe in their own home.
I know. So one day, he confronts our storyteller about rent, even though they're totally up to date on payments.
Trying to pick a fight. What did they do?
They just looked him dead in the eye and said, "If you ever harass me again, I'm calling the cops and reporting you for tenant harassment."
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
And guess what? The landlord backed down and never bothered them again.
Good. Glad to hear it. Okay, hit me with another one. I'm ready for more.
This story takes place in a supermarket.
Okay. Long lines. Expired coupons.
Expired coupons. Our storyteller was working as a cashier, and this customer comes up with a cart full of groceries.
All right.
Wants to use this coupon that's clearly expired. The storyteller politely explains it's no longer valid, but the customer just loses it, starts yelling, demanding to speak to the manager.
Ugh, I hate those customers. They think they can get anything they want if they just make a big enough scene.
Exactly.
Mm.
So the manager comes over, and the customer starts yelling at them too, demanding they accept the coupon.
Oh, no.
Did the manager cave?
Nope. This manager was awesome. They just looked the customer dead in the eyes and said, "You're being incredibly rude to my cashier. You need to calm down or leave the store."
Good for them, standing up for their employee and shutting down the customer's tantrum.
The customer was fuming, but eventually left without buying anything.
That's what they get.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm hooked on these Reddit tales. What's next?
This one involves the internet. Specifically, a customer who learned not to mess with the person who controls their internet access.
Oh, this is going to be good. I hope they got what they deserved. Oh, they did. Our storyteller was a technician for an internet provider. Got called out to a customer's house to fix a connection problem.
Makes sense. What was the problem?
Who knows? But the customer was being a total jerk the whole time, complaining about the internet speed, blaming the technician for everything.
Some people are just so entitled, they think they can treat service workers however they want.
Right. So the technician fixes the problem.
Did the customer apologize?
Nope. As they're packing up, the customer's like, "Well, I hope it stays fixed this time. I'm watching you."
Oh, wow. What a creep.
So the technician just smiles, looks them dead in the eye, and says, "No problem. I can see what you're watching online from here."
Oh, snap. That is perfect. What did the customer say?
Nothing. Their face just went white.
I bet they never threatened that technician again.
This one's about a bouncer at a bar who outsmarted a kid with a fake ID.
Oh, fake IDs. A classic.
So our storyteller is checking IDs at the door, and this kid walks up with an ID that's so obviously fake.
Did they just confiscate it?
Nope, they did something much better. They look at the ID, then at the kid, and say, "You look a lot like my cousin. What's his name again?"
Oh, I love it. They're messing with him.
Totally. The kid's all flustered, trying to come up with a name, and the bouncer just smiles and says, "Yeah, I thought so. Get out of here."
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right. The kid and his friends just slunk away, totally defeated.
What a great story. What else do we have?
Okay, imagine this. You just got promoted, right? You're excited.
Congratulations. Hard work paying off.
But there's this coworker who was also up for the promotion, and they are not happy.
Oh, I sense some sabotage brewing. What did they do?
They decided to mess with our storyteller's work. They worked in the finance department, and the coworker messed with some important spreadsheets.
Trying to make them look bad. That is so low. Did it work?
Not a chance. The storyteller discovered the tampering and traced it right back to the coworker.
Busted.
Took the evidence to the manager, and the coworker got fired.
That's what they get for trying to sabotage someone else's career.
The best part is, our storyteller got praised for their attention to detail.
A happy ending. Okay, give me another one. These stories are addicting.
All right, this one takes place in a clothing store.
Oh, clothing stores. I love a good shopping spree. But I'm sensing some customer drama here.
Oh, big time. So our storyteller's working there, and this customer wants to return an item without a receipt.
That's tricky. Most stores have a pretty strict policy about that.
This one did. They could only give store credit for the lowest selling price,
Yeah.
and the customer was not having it.
I bet they tried to pull the "do you know who I am" card.
Oh, yeah. Started dropping names of influencers they knew, claimed to have thousands of followers, said they could ruin the store's reputation online.
Oh, please. Like anyone cares about their online rants?
Right. So our storyteller just calmly explains that store policy applies to everyone.
Good for them.
Yep. The customer stormed off, muttering about how they were going to write a bad review.
I'm sure the store was devastated.
Okay, imagine this. You're working on this huge project at work. You're putting in tons of hours, going above and beyond.
You're a rock star, carrying the team on your back.
But then your boss, who did basically nothing, decides to present the whole thing as their own work.
Oh, no. Did they get away with it?
Nope. During the presentation, the boss starts stumbling over the details. Couldn't answer basic questions about the project.
Oh, I bet they were sweating bullets.
And our storyteller, seeing their chance, jumps in and starts answering all the questions, explaining everything perfectly.
That's amazing. They called the boss out right there in the meeting.
It was epic. Upper management saw right through the boss's act and gave the credit to our storyteller.
That's what they get for trying to steal someone else's thunder.
This next story is about a coworker who took advantage of someone's kindness.
Oh, no. I hate it when people do that.
Our storyteller was just a genuinely nice person, always willing to help their coworkers.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right. But this one coworker, they'd ask for favors constantly, cover their shifts, help with projects.
Sounds like they were taking advantage. Did our storyteller say anything?
At first, they just went along with it. But then the coworker started laying on the guilt trip, like, you're the only one who understands me.
Manipulation.
Right.
Right.
So finally, our storyteller sat the coworker down and told them, I'm not doing all your work for you anymore.
Good for them. It's not easy to set those boundaries.
I know.
Yeah.
The coworker tried to argue, but our storyteller stood firm. And it worked. The coworker finally backed off.
That's awesome. Sometimes you just have to be assertive and stand up for yourself.
Ah.
All right, what else do we have?
All right, this one's about a group of dine and dashers.
The worst. Stealing from the restaurant and stiffing the server.
Our storyteller was working as a server, and this group comes in, orders a big meal.
So far, so good.
But then the server starts noticing they're acting kind of weird, whispering, checking their phones.
Sounds like they were planning their escape.
Right. When the server brings the check, they act all surprised by the amount, start arguing about who's going to pay. And while they're arguing, one of them tries to sneak out.
Oh no, they're making a run for it. What did the server do?
They spotted the guy and intercepted him at the door. Just said, going somewhere.
Nice. I love how calm they were.
The customer's like, oh, I was just going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The
Right?
server didn't fall for it.
Yeah.
Just said, the bathroom's that way, pay your bill.
Love it. They weren't letting them get away with it. Did it work?
It did. The guy went back to the table and paid up.
Justice is served. Okay, hit me with another Reddit gem. I'm ready for more.
This next one's about a computer repair shop.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What happened?
So our storyteller is helping this customer who is just being the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Rude, demanding, complaining about the price, everything.
Ugh, I hate those customers. They act like you're doing them a favor by fixing their computer.
So the storyteller fixes the computer, gives them the bill. The customer throws the money on the counter and says, this is ridiculous. I could have done this myself.
Oh, of course they did. I'm sure they couldn't even turn the computer on.
So the storyteller, they just had enough.
Did they say something?
They decided to get a little revenge.
Oh, I love revenge stories. What did they do?
They secretly installed a program on the customer's computer.
A program? What kind of program?
One that would randomly open up embarrassing websites at the worst possible times.
Oh no, what kind of websites?
Like websites about adult diapers, hair loss treatments, that kind of stuff.
That is hilarious. Did the customer ever figure out what was happening?
Nope, the storyteller, I never heard from them again.
They probably thought their computer was possessed. Okay, what else do we have?
This one is a feel-good story about a supervisor who stood up for an employee.
Oh, I love those. Good bosses are hard to find.
So our storyteller was working at a grocery store, and they see this manager just berating a cashier for a tiny mistake.
Oh, come on. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how you learn.
I know, but this manager was yelling and screaming, making a scene in front of everyone.
That is just so unprofessional.
And our storyteller, who was a supervisor, had enough. Stepped in, told the manager to stop yelling and treat the cashier with respect.
Yes. Someone had to say something.
The manager tried to argue, but the storyteller shut them down. Then they took the cashier aside, calmed them down, and helped them fix the mistake.
That's what a good leader does. supports their team, and creates a positive work environment.
Right. The cashier was so grateful, and other employees were whispering thank yous to our storyteller for standing up to the manager.
It's amazing how one person's actions can inspire others to do the right thing. What else do we have in
Like
store?
this one's about road rage.
Ah, I hate road rage. It's so dangerous. What happened?
Our storyteller is driving home from work, and this car starts tailgating them.
Those are the worst.
They tried to ignore it, but the tailgater's honking, slashing their lights.
Did our storyteller confront them?
Not directly. They just slowly started slowing down.
Ooh, forcing them to either pass or back off. I like it.
Exactly. The tailgater finally got frustrated and sped past them, cutting them off.
That's scary.
The storyteller just let him go, but guess what?
What?
A few minutes later, they see that the tailgater pulled over by a cop.
Oh, that's beautiful. Karma's a boomerang.
Okay, this one's short but sweet.
Oh.
Our storyteller was at a party, and this group of people was making fun of someone who was standing alone, just being really mean.
High school never ends for some people.
Right. So our storyteller walks up to them and just says, "Hey, why are you being so mean? You're making them feel uncomfortable."
Good for them. What did the bullies say?
They tried to play it off like they were just joking.
The classic bully excuse.
So our storyteller just says, "It doesn't sound like he's laughing. If you're going to be mean, I'd rather you just leave."
Yes. Standing up to bullies and setting boundaries.
And you know what? The bullies actually left.
Wow, that's amazing. Sometimes all it takes is for one person to speak up.
Okay, this one takes place at a high school.
Okay, teachers, students, what happened?
Teachers and parents. Our storyteller was a teacher, and they had this student who was really struggling in their class.
Happens to the best of us, some subjects just don't click.
And the teacher tried everything to help this kid, but their grades were still bad.
Okay, so what happened?
The kid's parent barged into the classroom one day and demanded that the teacher change their child's grade.
Oh no, those parents are the worst. Trying to bully the teacher into giving their kid a free pass.
The teacher calmly explained that they couldn't just change the grade.
Right. It's not like a participation trophy. They have to earn it.
Exactly. But the parent wouldn't listen, started yelling, threatening to go to the principal.
Did they go to the principal?
I don't know if they actually did, but the teacher held their ground, told the parent, "You can talk to the principal, but the grade won't change unless your kid actually learns the material."
Good for that teacher.
And the parent, realized they weren't going to win, so they just stormed off. The best part, the students saw the whole thing. They were totally embarrassed.
That's awesome. A little dose of reality for both the parent and the student.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into "you have no power here" moments.
That was amazing. So many great stories.
I know, right?